Don't forget to always leave your comments. Thumbs up the channel, thumbs up. Well, tonight on the Lawyers and Podcast show, ladies and gentlemen, Obama tries to lecture black men about voting for bed wench Kamala Harris. And we basically know what this is all about. Okay? I told you all that the black man will be basically deciding this year's election. Lawyer Henderson is live. Lawyers and Podcast show is live. Thumbs up, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Obama tried to shade black men for not basically supporting Kamala Harris, bedwitch Kamala Harris, this so-called black woman who claims that she's black all of a sudden here. You know, I want to talk there about Kamala Harris, just by looking at this woman's history. Why basically would anybody vote for a bedwitch? And why would you vote for someone who basically cannot tell you what she's going to do for you, do not have the real policy when it comes to, what you do in government? Basically, all of her alleged plans are not in detail what she's for, what she's about, because the real agenda, general, is basically, here's the real agenda. The real agenda is for them to hide their agenda from basically from what they already have done, and that is ignore black people for the last 3.5 years, 4 years here. And one of the problems that you have to understand about the Democrats is that they basically know that they can't win without the black vote. Okay? Not only could they not win without the black vote, they basically believe and thinking that we're going to be foolish like the civil rights generation. Okay? So they sent Obama out here and basically, of course, that's something that ScrewTube always like to do. So before we get into today's topic, I also want to tell you that we will be talking about the alleged concept of the report claiming that in America, there's a rise of interracial marriages and relationships. I know that some of you want me to discuss that. Okay, somewhat it was supposed to be between black women and white men. Okay, we'll talk about that, and it's definitely on its way. But tonight we're going to be focusing on Obama, who tries to lecture black men into voting for Kamala Harris. I told y'all that the black man is going to be deciding this year's election. Okay. And even though Kamala Harris see a decline of black votes in general, she basically is not going to basically win. I told you, I'm looking all over the place. She's not a part of the Bilderberg group. She's not a part of the Council on Foreign Relations. Okay. And so I will have to go back there that after Electoral College elect Trump, that Kamala had the popular vote. And this is the reason why the white media is out there and they are basically very busy trying to get people to believe that we are for Kamala Harris. Okay. And Trump has not really been stomping yard himself. He's not been able to talk about policies as well. And so we want to basically make sure that we touch on the issues regarding what is the Black community up against, the problems of the Black community. And this is the reason why we have the Black media. Okay. But this, basically this report by Nia Malika Henderson from CNN, columnist, I think this was, well, the Bloomberg, I would credit them in the report. I'm sorry, yeah, Bloomberg. She's a policy columnist for Bloomberg. The hope to change candidate and a message to out black men, I'm sorry, singled out black men. Right? Prediction: Black women will be the most pro-Harris voting bloc come November. The second most pro-Harris, pro-freedom, pro-democracy voting group. You probably didn't guess it, black men, but still, Obama, who has made a habit of lecturing black people to show he isn't beholden to them and to a LA white fears felt the need to admonish black men. As the Washington Post headline said, he was stern, according to the New York Times headline, and calling out the brothers. Now, let me stop you right there. Obama has never, ever really, of course he's from Chicago, and of course his history is still a little bit janky, just like Kamala Harris's are. And he's calling us the brothers, okay? But there's a problem with this because Obama basically knows that he has failed in his term in office, okay? And then try to come and lecture black men on voting for a woman who basically is claiming to be black and has an Indian heritage and a Jamaican father as a background, and is laying up with some white man. Come on. I was going to ask, for a friend, is this, if she was really black in a sense, is this is what, just this is the norm, the whole thing is, this is not a black woman, but hey, look at me. I'm the vice president running for president. Is that basically what you tell black women here, are the black daughters, that the only way that they can make it is sleeping with a white man? It's a game here. It's a joke here. Anyway, the article goes on to say, the women in our lives have been getting our backs this entire time. Okay, said Obama, who also met with the group of black voters earlier in the day. We get in trouble, the system isn't working for us. They're the ones out there marching and protesting. Now, you're thinking about sitting out, or is putting women down. That's not acceptable. Now, that line right there is what really offended black men at that time, because that we have voted constantly for men and women. We don't, As black men, we don't really care. As long as you have a policy for us, we're going to vote for you if you're interested in that. And Obama, with his skinny, toothpick ass, come out here trying to make it appear as if we were misogynistic and try to say, oh, but just because she was a woman. Now, if you fast forward a year or so ago, they were saying that they didn't need black men's support. Remember that? Now, remember, they were saying that, we don't care if black men vote. We don't need their support at all. And all of a sudden, now you need our support. And I told you who is going to basically decide this election. I told you it's going to be the black man. Okay? Anyway, the article goes on to say, so eager to prove that he isn't beholden to black people, he is the president of all Americans. He would often say, Obama has frequently singled out black people for reprimanding. This approach only underscores the stereotypes of black Americans as a problem that needs solving. He once told the Congressional Black Caucus to stop grumbling and put on their marching shoes. It's doubtful that icons of civil rights movement like the late Congressman John Lewis or Representative Jim Clyburn needed to hear that from him. He lectured black people not to just sit in the house watching SportsCenter or brag about eighth grade graduation. And he told a group of Morehouse graduates during a commencement speech, among the best and brightest of black Americans, that they need to stop complaining. You see how Obama talked to us? Obama tries to talk to us and lecture us like we his kids. And I tell, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. Who the hell are you talking to, Obama? Okay? Don't be trying to lecture us. Hell, we know what this woman is about. This woman is dangerous. This woman, basically, like I said, is laying up with this white man and basically is trying to say that she got black people's back. No, she doesn't. And we know it. And this is the reason why we're not voting for her. We don't fool with Obama, okay? And we already know that what Obama did. Obama ignored us for 8 years. We lost a lot of black wealth because of Obama. The article goes on to say here that why are black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group is? Former Ohio State Senator Nina Turner, a Democrat, said Thursday on CNN Newsnight and Abby Phillips, now a lot of love for former President Obama, but for him to single out black men is wrong. Harris supporters were out post-speech during damage control. The campaign is poised to roll out a policy aimed at black men in the coming days, with surrogates fanning out the battleground states. On Tuesday, Harris will travel to Detroit to participate in a town hall with popular radio host Charlemagne the God. You see what they're doing? They always want to send out black celebrities, black commentators. We're not listening to the black celebrities. D.L. Hughley, Steve Harvey, all these people, we don't listen to these folks. Basketball players like Magic Johnson, I'll get on his ass in a minute, we are not listening to them. Okay, we have asked specifically the Democrats because we have voted for them for almost 70 or 75 years, and they still have not done anything for us specifically. Using all these broad and ambiguous terms like minorities, people of color, distressed neighborhoods, and all of this crap, which basically means that they were able for years to avoid the black community. And now that the old civil rights generation has died out, there is a new generation that have basically became very critical of what the Democrats are about. And we told you when they brought these illegal immigrants over here to our communities that the Democrats was moving towards the third or fourth phase of Reconstruction. Okay. Basically, as Amos Wilson taught us, piling other groups of people up on Black people in their communities. And so what we must recognize is that, you know, that the Democratic Party is basically cannot just get our vote for free anymore. They recognize that too. They recognize that Black folks are just not going out there and voting for nothing anymore. And we told you that it's not going to happen. And so here's the thing. We know that Kamala Harris and she was going to continue her policies to bring these illegal immigrants over here. We know that she was going to continue what Joe Biden and Obama did. We know that she was going to do this. Okay? We already know she was going to ignore Black people. And that's the reason why we don't fool with her. Okay? The article goes on to say here that as a candidate, this type of condescending approach to Black voters who overwhelmingly backed him and still adore him, was a bomb to white people who saw in Obama a figure who could fix the problem that Black America has supposedly posed to the body politic. Columnist Jonathan Alter wrote in 2008 that Obama's most exciting potential for moral leadership could be in the African American community, because, of course, Black Americans needed this the most. Speaking of moral leadership, fast forward 8 years to when the majority of white Americans would cast their ballots for Donald Trump, something that they are poised to do again. You see that? They basically recognize that the Democrats are in trouble, not because the majority and the vast majority of white folks who are voting, the vast majority of white people who are voting is mobilized. And they're going to go out there and vote for Donald Trump again. They are sick and tired of the Democrats and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. Okay? And then when they tossed out Jim Crow Joe and Kamala was their only person to get behind at that point, that's when things start to, come unfolding, come unraveling. Okay, and so now we got Obama trying to shame Black people into supporting Kamala, trying to go to whether he was in Pittsburgh, trying to say, now look, but we basically, if you're saying that you're not voting for her because she's a woman, well, blah, blah, blah. No. That's not it. Don't try to say that we're not voting for her because she's a woman. No, this woman is dangerous. We've already seen what she did the 3.5 years she's already been there, and she of course haven't done a damn thing for us as Black people. Okay, yeah, this woman is very dangerous. To wrap up the article, it goes on to say here that, but as Harris, who has run nearly flawless race in a compressed timeline, tries to take her turn at history, it is Black voters, specifically Black men, who are being scapegoated. Okay, there they go again. They always try to describe like we are stupid, that we don't know who we should be voting for. We don't understand policy. This is the problem with not only these Democrats, but with the white media, of course. Remember that is in a state like Michigan in 2020, Black men were 5% of the electorate, and 88% of their ballot went to Joe Biden. White people were 80% of the electorate. Or there are any lecture for them on racism or sexism from Obama? It's true that Obama at time was speaking to all men, but he landed most harshly on black men, the most pro Kamala group in one of the smallest voting blocks of the electorates. Strategist types have criticized that Harris campaign for what they see as a lack of effective outreach to black men. They are big on complaints, but short on suggestions. At an event with the National Association of Black Journalists, Harris was asked about her standing among black men, a group being set up as a collective fall guy if she fails to win the White House. I think it's very important to not operate from the assumption that black men are in anybody's pocket, said in a sit down interview with a panel from the group. I'm working to earn the vote, not assuming I'm going to have it because I'm black. Oh, whoa, you're black? Whatever, lady. Black men at the highest rate than men of every other group will go with their daughters and their wives and their sisters and their aunts to the voting booth so that they can all make history together. Perhaps that's the picture Obama could paint. One of the hopes and change, not coincidentally, Jesse Jackson, who more than anyone paved the way for Obama presidency, famously said that Obama talked down to black people. Jackson's message was mostly lost because it was wrapped into vulgarity, but it turns out he was right. Black men don't need to be torn down. They don't need to be condescended to. They don't need to be scolded. What they need is a president who sees them, hears them, and makes their lives better, just like every other American. Harris is making the case to them as best as she can by listening, not lecturing. Obama should do the same. Okay, so now here's the problem, though. Obama, of course, did not do anything for us for the 8 years he spent in office. Okay, for the 8 years he's been in office, he basically ignored us. And I told you that, see, Obama was basically making sure that white folks got more wealth and became more rich, not only in his tax credits and stuff that he was giving them, but remember when he passed I told you, if you've been listening to me for a while, that when he passed the health care bill, the Obamacare bill, remember there was a lot of pharmaceutical companies that was about to get money from the Obamacare bill. And members of Congress like John Kerry and all these folks, they knew about it because they sat and looked at the laws that are written, and they know the companies who is going to basically get the premiums from the people. And so after Obama basically wrote the Obamacare bill, remember you had John Kerry and other people that was basically purchasing stock in those companies where the pharmaceutical companies were going to, or the people who were at the hospital or the clinics and people who were paying the pharmaceutical company, who's going to get the premiums from the American people who had to go to the hospital. They start to purchase stocks. And so that basically really is what they call, inside trading, because when you look at it, if you know knowledge of what stock is going to perform on the stock market, you're not supposed to know that. If you know that information, you're not supposed to basically invest in those companies. And see, that's what Obama was doing, allowing a lot of these white folks to do and the stock market. So a lot of white folks got rich, and they basically, like I said, like John Kerry, see, he basically was able to invest in the pharmaceutical companies because he knew about the stocks, about where the premiums was going to go. And so, pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer and all these other people and stuff that was also doing the COVID things and stuff as well. See, they started investing in these pharmaceutical companies and got rich, okay, under Obama's presidency. So Obama has been helping white people to become more and more wealthy, where black people basically were losing wealth under his administration. And black people lost a lot of wealth under Obama. And if you go back, I was like, man, I said, I'm glad this man leaving office because black people would have been really hurt under Obama. Then after Trump, we get Jim Crow Joe, and he continued to basically, of course, ignore black people, and then lied about setting up a reparations panel to discuss reparations, even though that these people know that we don't need that. Everybody know that slavery happened in this country. So this is the game that they've been playing with us. And now that that black men are standing on business this time, we are not going out and voting for nobody without policy. They basically don't know what to do. See, they think that they were going to trick us like they did the old civil rights generation. Okay. And the old civil rights generation, of course, is dying out. And so they don't have that voting bloc no more, the Democrats, like they did in the 1980s, 90s, and all that, specifically in the 60s when it started out. So the question is, do Kamala Harris have a problem with black men? Basically, do black men like Kamala Harris? Okay. That would be the question that her campaign would have to ask themselves, because we were told a year or so ago, as I said earlier, she didn't need the black men vote. They were like, we don't need you black men. We can get a majority by, letting these folks come in, the Hispanics and Latinos and a few black women and all that. We can create a voting bloc, and that's what's going to get us to the White House. Remember, they were saying that a year ago. So now they recognize, well, they're also losing among black women as well. So it has dropped significantly under black women who is not supporting the Democrats this time around as well. And so now they got a problem. And so remember at first he was hesitant to vote for Kamala Harris and support her. Remember when Jim Crow Joe had dropped out? Remember, he was saying, well, we should be looking for other candidates to run. And him and Michelle was hesitant to support Kamala Harris. And then finally he came back and said he was going to do it, But at first, he was even hesitant about voting for Kamala Harris. This is a woman who put a lot of black people in jail. She was putting black women in jail for a lot of things there in California. This woman is dangerous. This woman was so dangerous that they had to basically the U.S. Attorney General and all these people had to tell her, hey, you need to look at that evidence. This woman, and then you had her cackling laugh and stuff. Man, this woman is out of control. And if this woman become president, you're going to see a lot of black people go to jail. You're going to see a lot of black women going to jail like they did on the Jim Crow Joe. You're going to see a lot of issues with this woman. This woman is now is putting this face as as a black woman, and she's not. If you black women support her, she's going to make sure that you black women go to jail, because that's what she did in California. Okay. That's the reason why it's dangerous to put her in jail. You'll have black women who probably never had a record before going to jail because of this woman. This woman was very dangerous in California. Did y'all see this woman's record, man? When we come back on the Lawyers and Podcast show, we're going to be talking about Magic Johnson's support of Kamala Harris. We told y'all about these black celebrities out here, didn't we? talking about Obama basically shaming black men to basically support Kamala Harris. And thank you for listening, of course, to the Lawyers and Podcast Show. Continue to like, share, subscribe, and also don't forget that basically the Lawyers and Podcast Show will come on every weekend, specifically on Sundays. Okay. Because basically Sundays, I feel like it's the best day to come on if I'm going to do a show every week. So just tune in and make sure that you are ready to listen to the Lawyers and Podcast Show, specifically on Sundays. Today we're talking about Kamala Harris, and we're getting ready to basically see who would be the next president here pretty soon. I think it's November the 5th or the 9th or somewhere around there. And Kamala Harris is already, of course, knowing that even though the white media, CNN, all these people out there talking about, yeah, she basically neck to neck with Trump in the polls and she blah, 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 blah. But there's one of the most important major, questions that needs to be determined. Will black people go out and vote in this election? A lot of black people said that they're staying home. And then the white media basically is also helping to try to pretend like this is going to be one of the most historic, elections of all time and stuff. This is going to be historic. We got the first black woman, blah, 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 You know how the white media does it. This woman is not black at all, not at all. This woman's history is questionable. As an Indian and a Jamaican, with an Indian mother and a Jamaican father, this woman's roots is questionable. And of course, Obama's roots was also questionable as well. Okay, it still is, by the way, because we basically know that the two of them are not, in my opinion, foundational Black Americans or ADOS or whatever you want to call us here. But nevertheless, we basically know that Kamala Harris is not. And white people, specifically in government, they like to basically create what they describe as their ideal of what a black person should be. Okay. And these good white folks in this society, regardless of whether or not they're Democrats or Republicans, they have the notion to believe that black people just don't deserve nothing from government. But just go out and vote. And this was their notion. And this is what they designed for the civil rights generation, thinking that the civil rights generation's children. Now, I didn't say, of course, the civil rights generation's eldest children. If you've been listening to me for a while, remember I talk about the civil rights generation eldest children, okay? Not them, but the younger kids that's coming up after the civil rights generation's eldest children. Remember, we're not talking about your Kasim Reeds, your Martin Luther King III's, your, Stacey Abrams, Keisha Lamb Bottoms. These are examples of the civil rights generation's eldest children. We're not talking about them. We're talking about their kids, okay? We're talking about the eldest kids of the, with their children who's coming up now between now and all the way up to 40, 45, of course. But we basically know that politics is changing and that black people are just not running to the polls like they used to in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, right? And so the Democrats have a huge problem. You see, they have basically sat for 3.5 years and ignored the black community up until it was time for election, like they always do, and tried to sell us the same old lies that they have also basically tried to do, have been doing for years. Now, I've been basically inundated with a lot of mail between both the Democratic parties here in Georgia and the Republican Party. Vote for this, text messages here, and make sure you vote for Kamala and vote for Trump and blah, 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 blah. And text message here and text messages there. No, 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 no. Because what you have to ask these organizations, what is the Republican and the Democrats doing for Black folks, even in the states, okay, and even on the local level, okay? We're just not basically wanting tangible benefits on the national level, but we Black folks, specifically we Black men, we are very greedy now. We want tangible benefits on the local level too, and on the state level. We want, damn it, tangibles on all levels, okay, if you want our vote, okay? And so therefore we are getting a lot grittier than we have been. Because see, we sat around and let all of these illegal immigrants and all these other people and other groups who have been hostile to us basically jump and cut in front of us, and we are the people who built this nation. We have fought in every war this country has had, okay? And all of these people who are coming from other groups and basically who had fled their country to come over to the United States, and now they are basically cutting in front of us. We're sick and tired of the Democrats. I told you that this was the third phase of Reconstruction. If you go online now, you see basically a lot of people who had enough with these illegal immigrants all in their neighborhoods, and they're all in their communities, and basically they're starting all kinds of trouble. You know, they also engaging in all kinds of crime and stuff, and they have flooded in this country, and we don't know where these folks are coming from. And these Venezuelan thugs out here, they're out of control there in Chicago. Did you see that? We have to look at this whole issue now that the Democrats is basically have started this crisis. And so the Democrats do exactly what they always done. Not only do they think that they can control Black people in general, but of course they control these bought and paid for bootlicking Black celebrities as well, like D.L. Hughley and Steve Harvey, these high slave athletes as well. And that brings us to Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson urged Black men to vote for Kamala Harris, criticized Trump for failing to deliver on promises. Okay. NBA legend Urban Magic Johnson joined Vice President Kamala Harris at her rally in Flint, Michigan on October the 4th and focused much of his energy on getting a message to Black men to vote for Harris in November's presidential election. You see, I thought that the Black man was not important. Remember in 2020 when they were telling Black women to go and get, and having them, they were the deciding figure, get your booty to the polls and all this old stuff when Jim Crow Joe Biden was running. Okay. Then in 2024, they was like, we don't need you Black men. You Black men are irrelevant. We're not going to do nothing for you Black men. We're not going to do nothing for you Black people in general. And now all of a sudden, they realize Kamala Harris is in trouble. So what do? They bring out these celebrities. And who is listening to Magic Johnson? I don't know. Okay. There's a lot of Black men in here, and I don't mean to, not talk to other people, but this is important, Johnson said. According to Deadline Detroit, our Black men, okay, you be the constituency who's been the backbone of the country, the politics. You mean the Black men that you've been exploiting for years and years, who basically, you mean the Black men who this society has basically help to turn our women and children against us. Magic, are you talking about us black men? Anyway, there's a lot of black men in here. I don't mean to, not talk to other people, but this is important. Johnson said, according to Deadline Detroit, our black men, we got to get them out to vote. That's number one. Kamala opponent promised a lot of things last time to the black community that he did not deliver on. And we got to make sure we help black men understand that, end quote. You see what I'm saying? You see how these black celebrities talk? They talk as if black men do not understand what's going on, like we're kids. That's how Obama was basically trying to lecture like we're his damn son or something. Like, who the hell you talking to? You know what I'm saying? We don't trust your ass no more anyway. And so why would they bring out weak black men? You see all the people in that room that he had, these were black men who we basically don't fool with. These are black men that he had in there who don't represent the vast majority of the black community. Okay? And so to have Magic Johnson, out of all people, to come on stage and say, well, we got to make sure we help black men understand this. You don't need to help us understand a damn thing. We understand perfectly. We understand that there's a wannabe black woman running for president who's landed up with some white man, and we don't basically support her. She's not going to do a damn thing for us. She's basically the wrong ideal to basically give an example to our black daughters. And that's bottom line. We don't want this woman in office at all. Okay? So we do understand. And number two, she is in office now and has not done a damn thing. Not one thing. She has not done anything for black folks. And when she was running her own presidential campaign, as basically often pointed out to, here in the black media, she's basically say, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm only going to do something for black folks. No, we know the history of Kamala Harris, and we're not trusting this woman at all. Okay. Johnson appears dovetail with an athletes for Harris Coalition, the Harris Waltz campaign unveiled in September. Speaking of Tim Waltz, did y'all see Tim Waltz, old struggly looking ass? He's out there talking about we got to get rid of the Electoral College. I said, I know. After he made that remark, I said, I know they're not going to win. Okay, the Electoral College, just like the two major economic and other aristocracy in this country, is the building foundation of the American political power force. You're not going to get rid of the Electoral College. It's been there since 200 years. But yeah, he was out there talking about, we're trying to get rid of the Electoral College. No, you're not. The American people would never, ever, 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 as long as this system exists, will elect their president. Okay? But back to this article here. The campaign has made it to the point to court black men, with Harris explicitly laying out her focus on the demographic during a September interview with a panel of journalists from the National Association of Black Journalists. Trump and the Republican Party has been trying to capitalize on black men's dissatisfaction with the Democratic Party. And that dissatisfaction has been there. The support of the Democrats has basically declined from both black men and black women. Okay? The article goes on to write, according to the New York Times, interviews with several black male voters influencers and strategists reflect the broader frustration with the Democratic Party that Republicans have been willing to exploit, and they are willing to play the long game to eventually get their support, end quote. Okay? Now, here's the issue. We know that the Republicans are not offering us anything either. And so we basically, like I said, we vote the couch party. The couch party is offering us something. It's offering us a damn day to relax on election day. that's we're gonna vote for the couch party. See, the couch party also get us also something else. See, the couch party may not be offering us reparations, but it is offering us a resting day. Kenneth Clark, a 43-year-old cybersecurity manager and entrepreneur, said that although Trump soiled the score in the country, he couldn't readily identify a tangible difference in his own life. What did he exactly do for us? What did he do to our communities exactly? Clark told the outlet, did it empower us? Did it hurt us? We were in the same position as we were before, Clark continued. I'm not a supporter of Trump, but at the same time, I don't know for sure what either party's plan are directly affecting us in our culture. Okay, end quote. You see, we go on these TV talking to these white folks all the time. And basically, these white folks, basically play dumb, and we help them to play dumb. These white folks know what our problems is. It's problems that every other ethnic group also have. It is not only economics and finances and making an economic system as well. Sure that we have tangible benefits. Okay? These white folks ain't stupid, but they know in order to keep them in the position that they're in, they have to trick other people. And then they have to deny an economic opportunity to you and then say, well, look at you niggas doing in your black communities. Why you niggas are all going to jail. You see, this is the kind of concept and a game that we basically have been playing with these white folks for years. Okay? And it's only now this younger generation is saying, no way, we're not going to fall for the, okay? No more falling for the banana in the tailpipe, so to speak. We are going to basically make sure that these white folks hear us out. We basically want our reparations. And that's the bottom line, okay? And we will basically be willing to sit home and not vote at all. Okay, if we don't have a black agenda that suits us. These other groups, basically, they're getting tangible benefits, and this is, and these white folks know it, but they basically know that, see, we have a legitimate issue and a legitimate excuse to claim reparations. That's the reason why they ignore us. And then they know that we'll go out there and vote for them just for nothing. Well, that was basically the concept of the old civil rights generation. And we're not the old civil rights generation. And so now these people got the white media, they got their bought and paid for bootlicking flunkies out there saying, we got to get black men to understand that who the are. So take a black man and explain to him that you go down and you go to your local polling booth and you vote. That's how they're trying to talk to us. Like we don't understand what's going on. But no, we know exactly what's going on. And we're not going to basically waste time voting in a system that does not basically meet our economic demands and needs. Okay? And that's just the bottom line. We're not going to vote for no Kamala Harris. And we're probably going to stay home in Trump. We're not going to vote for either one of them if they don't have an economic agenda for black people in general. Okay? You've been listening to the Lawyers and Podcast Show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I promised you I was going to be talking about interracial dating here and marriages, and the lie that claimed that interracial relationships and marriages are on the rise. So I'm going to be talking about that on the Lawyers and Podcast show. It's going to be coming up, you know. I already got some bad witches. You know what? Oh, White Daddy, man, White Daddy is taking us down the aisle like never before. White Daddy, yeah. Now listen, no. Okay? Just like the black man who date the white woman. See, here's the thing. And they basically is first going to make sure that you have money first. Okay? And the black woman who dates the white man, he basically is the same way. And so when we talk about these couples, specifically celebrities in Hollywood, we'll be talking about a lot of these celebrities that basically are only getting with these black women because they got money. But that will be basically coming up on the Lawyers and Podcast show. And also, we're going to be talking about the decline of American empire, where a lot of these companies and corporations, they are basically laying off people, and the corporations are wanting to do what is called a project reset, where they basically, are firing and laying off people who are making huge salaries so they can start over. So we'll be looking into the companies who are doing that and talk about the end of work by Professor Jeremy Ryken. That is coming up on the Lawyers and Podcast show this month. So, like I said, like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for listening.